Welcome back to the neighborhood. My name is Dylan, and today we're going to be talking about Dredge. What it is, the things I liked about it, what I thought could be better, who I think this game is for, and my ultimate verdict. Dredge is a fishing game with a sinister undercurrent, developed by Black Salt Games and published by Team 17. You're the captain of a small fishing boat that you sail around various remote islands in the surrounding oceans. As you're sailing around, you're exploring some of these islands, finding hidden secrets, trying to piece together sort of the mystery that is going on in this game. You're a fishing boat, so obviously you're fishing as well. You're playing these little fishing mini games throughout, collecting various fish, and as you're doing this, you're starting to notice some of these fish have some weird, strange mutations going on, and so you're trying to figure out what's going on there. You're using the fish by selling them to get money, and you're also, as you're doing this, you're dredging up different crafting materials. You can use all those to research upgrades, improve your boat, buy new types of fishing rods and that sort of thing so that you can catch different fish. You're doing all of this on a day-night cycle. So during the day, it's, your pretty standard day. You're out there fishing. But at night, your sanity starts to go down. This fog moves in, surrounding the islands and the ocean, and you start to see things in the fog, see things in the ocean, and it becomes a bit dangerous. And so ultimately you're trying to unravel this mystery that you kind of are discovering along the way, trying to figure out what's going on, why this fog is here, and ultimately get to one of the two endings of the game. There have been 2 DLCs that have been released. The Pale Reach, which adds a 6th region to the map, a little icy region down in the south, and then the Iron Rig, which adds a big oil drilling platform that you can kind of go through and do a bunch of upgrades to. That one doesn't add a new region necessarily, it just kind of sends you back to all of the old regions that are now kind of infested with this oil spill. So, what I like about this game. First and foremost, I love fishing minigames. In whatever game that they are put in, I tend to enjoy them. I don't mind the complicated ones, like in Stardew Valley or some of those that, add a little bit more, make it a little bit more difficult. But I'm also totally fine with them in games like Monster Hunter or something like that, where it is just kind of wait for the splash, press a button, you catch a fish. So I enjoy fishing minigames, and I think Dredge does them fantastically. It doesn't make them too complicated. It's pretty easy to just pick up and understand what is going on as you watch a little green ball sort of work its way through a maze or, something like that. And there are very clear ticks on it that you are supposed to press a button during to increase the quality of your fish and that sort of a thing. But it's not the same every single time. There are, 4 or 5 at least different variations on that mini game based on the fish that you are catching that make it more interesting, keeps it more engaging, it helps it not feel as dry and boring as the game progresses. And it also kind of helps as you're maybe trying to fish all of the fish in the game to, keep it a little bit more active, keep it a little bit more interesting. The exploration, I thought, felt very rewarding. There is just kind of a lot of open ocean, but as you get around these islands, I thought they did a good job of making there be interesting things to find as you were sailing around them. There are some secrets, there are some shrines that you can do to unlock some upgrades. There are characters, some that are required to get one of the 2 endings in the game that you can just kind of find on random islands. There are sort of 5 main areas of the game, but there are a bunch of other like kind of little islands scattered around that aren't necessary to go to. But if you are going to them, it gives you a little bit of something to kind of do, and there's always kind of something there that you can find that feels rewarding. The world, the varied zones, I thought were pretty cool. You start in kind of like your basic sort of New Englandy, in my opinion, looking zone. Then you go out to like this big cliffy zone that has a lot of like wind, and each zone has its own unique gimmick. I'm not going to talk too much about what those gimmicks are because I think that's kind of part of the fun of playing the game. But each one has kind of a specific gimmick in that zone that keeps it fresh, keeps it from becoming sort of just go here, do the same old thing every single time. The fish are kind of specific to the different zones as well, so going to like the different biomes is fun because it's a whole new set of fish that you get to try to fish up and discover. I am also a big fan of cosmic horror and Lovecraftian vibes and that sort of a thing, and I think that this game does that so well. Already there's a lot of kind of like the mysteries of the deep ocean in a lot of those cosmic horror type stories, and this really feeds into it. I personally didn't find the game like too spooky, but I'm also not somebody who suffers from like thalassophobia or something like that, where I get very paranoid and scared of the deep ocean. And so, if that's you, I could definitely see this being a scarier game. But for me, just kind of the tension, the unsettling sort of vibes, the trying to figure out like what is going on with all of this, and then the ultimate story endings, I thought were very in line with like cosmic horror, and I really enjoyed the process of learning and understanding the story as I played the game. Final note for here is the game is very like doable. It was nice to not have it be like this just ultra difficult, unforgiving type of game. I ended up 100%ing the game, and both DLCs, and it was very reasonable to do so. It did not take a ridiculous amount of time, and I did that because I enjoyed this game so much. And so it's nice to be able to, do something that feels like you can accomplish it versus, some games out there, the whole point is to be difficult. So, what could have been a little bit better? Now, keep in mind, most of this is going to be subjective. These are things that maybe I personally didn't like or wished were a little bit different. As far as the game goes, I didn't notice a whole lot that was like bad mechanics or just technical issues. And so, like I said, a lot of this, your mileage may vary with it. For me personally, the second zone and the fifth zone, their gimmicks were a little annoying. The second zone in particular, I felt like was a bit frustrating because essentially there is a monster that can kind of like patrol around the area and get you, even if you're kind of locked in to the fishing mini game or something like that. And there's not, at that point in the game, because it's the second island that you go to, you haven't really unlocked any of the powers or that sort of thing to deal with it. The fifth island was fine. It was just like a little tedious at that point, the little mechanic that they added into that. But I enjoyed the mechanics overall, and it wasn't enough to make me put the game down or anything. Another thing that I personally found a little bit frustrating was just the the sort of like Tetris packing mini game almost that you have to do once you catch all these fish. Your boat has limited inventory space, which is something that you can upgrade throughout the game, but it can be a little bit frustrating. I didn't find it too frustrating as I was playing the game, just like playing through the story. But once I was kind of towards the end of the game and I was just trying to collect all of the different fish that you can find in the game, it became a bit frustrating because some of those fish take up a lot of inventory space. And so it was like, okay, I caught like 4 fish and now I'm out of space, or I'm out of convenient space to put things in. And so, now I have to sail all the way back to town so that I can sell these fish so that I can go back out and try to catch more. So that was a little bit annoying and a little bit frustrating. I know I could have just tossed some of the fish out and not sold them, or, managed my inventory slightly better to, have a nicer time with it. Or something that you can do is like sacrifice some of your like fishing power. Like each zone requires like a specific type of rod to kind of fish in, and you can eventually upgrade them to have like this rod does all 3 of these zones or something like that. So I could have gotten rid of some of the ones in, an area that I wasn't fishing in at the time so that I had a little bit more space. I could have sacrificed some of that to have more space overall, but that was just annoying and I didn't feel like doing it. And to be fair to the packing mini game, it is super satisfying when you can like slot all of those fish in there just perfectly and just have a completely full inventory. And then finally, the RNG sort of at the end of the game, if you are going for all of the fish, can get just a little bit frustrating as you sail to, like, oh, okay, this fish only is in this zone and there are only like 2 little schools that you can ever catch it in, and it only comes out at night. I hope that I can get like the strange mutated version of this fish, because if not, then I'm gonna have to like sail back, wait 3 in-game days, so that I can go back out once that pool resets. So overall, still, a minor complaint. Same with like the crab traps that you can unlock eventually. There would be times where I'd, like set them, trying to catch one specific crab, go to it, it's not there. Now I have to wait, 3 more days for the crab trap to work some more, and fill up, and then I'll try again. But like I said, overall, I think a lot of these are just subjective little things, not actual issues with the game overall. So, who is this game for? I think it's for people who like fishing mini games. If you're like me and enjoy them, this is sort of a fishing mega game. So check this game out because it's going to scratch that itch. If you like cosmic horror, Lovecraftian horror, that sort of thing, and you're, expecting that kind of an ending from this story, I think you'll be satisfied here. Like I mentioned earlier, if you are scared of the ocean, this could be a very scary game for you. And so if you're looking for like a spooky game as we're rolling into October, Halloween season, check this game out. That could be for you. If you're not too spooked out by the ocean, it's still got a spooky, tense atmosphere. If you're trying to sail across the ocean at night because you let time get away from you as you were fishing, and you've got all of these like hallucinations and monsters kind of out there trying to come and get you, that can be very scary. But overall, you may be interested in that type of a game, especially as we're rolling into the Halloween season. So what is my verdict? I give this game an A for me personally. Like I said, I am a sucker for fishing mini games and cosmic horror, and so this is basically like, it feels like a game that was made for me. I really enjoyed playing it as a just very kind of chill relaxing sort of game for me. I enjoyed sort of the checklist of like going out and trying to collect all of the fish. I enjoyed that as I was exploring around the game, it felt like it was rewarding to be exploring. For a person that it is not super into fishing mini games or cosmic horror or something like that, this game may be a B for you, just because it is a fishing mini game, basically, extended out over like 15-20 hours. Some people may be upset at the endings. I wasn't, because I was expecting that. But if you're looking for like, oh, here is a hopeful ending, this is cosmic horror. It doesn't necessarily give you that. But I think overall, this game is worth checking out, even if it's not normally your style. So, have you played Dredge? What did you think of it? Let us know in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, leave us a like. Maybe consider subscribing to get more of these types of videos from our channel, get notified when they go live. If you want to hear us talk more about video games, check out our podcast, Your Friendly Neighborhood Gamers, wherever you get your podcasts. That includes YouTube. With that, I will leave you with a reminder to stay friendly, gamers.